Down a winding stairs he drew me, and everything I beheld absorbed me. The rough-cut stones seemed to give forth their own light, and even the rats shooting past in the dark had a curious beauty. Then he unlocked a thick iron-studded wooden door and, giving over his heavy keyring to me, led me into a large and barren room. "You were my heir now, as I had told you," he said. "You will take possession of this house and all my treasure, but you will do as I say first." The barred windows gave a limitless view of the moonlit clouds, and I saw the soft shimmering city again as if it was spreading its arms. "Ah, later you may drink your fill of all you see," he said. He turned me towards him as he stood before a huge heap of wood that lay in the center of the floor. "Listen carefully," he said, "for I am about to leave you." He gestured to the wood half-handedly. "And there are some things you must know. You are immortal now, and your nature shall lead you soon enough to your first human victim. Be swift and show no mercy, but stop your feasting no matter how delicious, before the victim's heart ceases to beat. In years to come, you will be strong enough to feel that great moment, but for the present, pass the cup of time just before it's empty, or you may pay heavily for your pride." "But why are you leaving me?" I asked desperately. I clung to him. Victims, mercy, feasting. I felt myself bombarded by these words as if I were physically beaten. He pulled away so easily that my hands were hurt by his movement, and I wound up staring at them, marveling at the strange quality of the pain. It wasn't like mortal pain. He stopped, however, and pointed to the stones of the wall opposite. I could see that one very large stone had been dislodged and lay a foot from under broken surface around it. "Grasp that stone," he said, "and pull it out of the wall." "But I can't," I said. "It must weigh pull it out." He pointed with one of his long fingers and grimaced so that I tried to do as he said. To my pure astonishment, I was able to move the stone easily, and I saw beyond it a dark opening just large enough for a man to enter if he crawled on his face. He gave a dry, cackling laugh and nodded his head. "There, my son, is the passageway that leads to my treasure," he said. "Do with my treasure as you like, and with all my earthly property. But for now, I must have my vows." And again, astonishing me, he snatched up 2 twigs from the wood and rubbed them together so fiercely that they were soon burning with bright small flames. He tossed them at the heap, and in the pitch it caused the fire to leap up at once, throwing an immense light over the curved ceiling and stone walls. I gasped and stepped back. The riot of yellow and orange enchanted and frightened me, and the heat, though I felt it, did not cause me a sensation I understood. There was no natural alarm that I should be burned by it. Rather, the warmth was exquisite. and I realized for the first time how cold I had been. The cold was an icing on me, and the fire melted it, and I almost moaned. He laughed again. That hollow, gasping laugh, and started to dance about it in the light, his thin legs making him look like a skeleton dancing. With the white face of a man, he crooked his arms over his head, bent his torso and his knees, and turned around and round as he circled the fire. "Mon Dieu," I whispered. I was reeling, horrifying. It might have been only an hour ago to see him dancing like this, but now, in this flickering glare, he was a spectacle that drew me after it step by step. The light exploded on his satin rags, the pantaloons he wore, the tattered shirt. "But you can't leave me," I pleaded, trying to keep my thoughts clear, trying to realize what he had been saying. My voice was monstrous in my ears. I tried to make it lower, softer, more like it should have been. "Where will you go?" He gave his loudest laugh then, slapping his thigh and dancing faster and faster, and farther away from me, his hands out as if to embrace the fire. The thickest logs were only now catching. The room, for all its size, was like a great clay oven, smoke pouring out of its windows. "Not the fire!" I flew backwards, flattening myself against the wall. "You can't go into the fire!" Fear was overwhelming me, as every sight and sound had overwhelmed me. It was like every sensation I had known so far. I couldn't resist it or deny it. I was half whimpering and half screaming. "Oh, yes, I can," he laughed. "Yes, I can." He threw back his head and let his laughter reach into howls. "But from you, fledgling," he said, stopping before me with his finger out again. "Promises now. Come, a little mortal honor, my brave wolf killer. Although it will cleave my heart in two, I shall throw you into the fire and claim for myself another offspring. Answer me." I tried to speak. I nodded my head. In the raging light I could see my hands had become white, and I felt a stab of pain in my lower lip that almost made me cry out. My eye teeth had become fangs already. I felt them and looked to him in panic, but he was leering at me, as if he enjoyed my terror. "Now, after I am burned up," he said, snatching my wrist, "and the fire is out, you must scatter the ashes. Hear me, little one? Scatter the ashes, or else I might return. And in what shape that would be, I dare not contemplate. But mark my words, if you allow me to come back more hideous than I am now, I shall hunt you down and burn you till you are scarred the same as I. Do you hear me?" I couldn't bring myself to answer. This was not fear, it was hell. I could feel my teeth growing and my body tingling all over. I frantically nodded my head. "Ah, yes," he smiled, nodding too. The fire licking the ceiling behind him, like leaking all about the edges of his face. "It's only mercy," I asked. that I go now to find hell, if there is a hell, or sweet oblivion which I surely do not deserve. If there is a Prince of Darkness, then I shall set my eyes upon him. At last I shall spit in his face. So scatter what is burned, as I command you, and when that is done, take yourself to my lair below, that low passage, being most careful to replace the stone behind you as you enter there. Within you will find my coffin, and in that box, or the like of it, you must seal yourself by day, or the sun's light shall burn you to a cinder. Mark my words, nothing on earth can end your life save the sun or a blaze such as you see before you. And even then, only, as I say, only if your ashes are scattered when it is done. I turned my face away from him. I turned away from the flames. I had begun to cry, and the only thing that kept me from sobbing was the hand that I clapped to my mouth. But he pulled me about the edge of the fire until we stood before the loose stone. His finger pointed at it again. "Please stay with me, please," I begged him. "Only a little while, only one night, I beg you." Again, the volume of my voice terrified me. It wasn't my voice at all. I had my arms around him. I held it tight to him. His gaunt white face was inexplicably beautiful to me. His black eyes filled with the strangest expression. The light flickered on his black hair, his eyes, and then he made his mouth into a jester's smile. "Ah, greedy son," he said. "It's not enough to be mortal with all the world you repassed. Goodbye, little one. Do as I say. Remember the ashes. And beyond the stone, the inner chamber, therein lies all you will need to prosper." I struggled to hold on to him, and he laughed low in my ear, marveling at my strength. "Excellent, excellent," he whispered.